Hello, everyone. I'm Tim Herrera with the Sacramento County Office of Education, and we're here to speak with you about wellness, especially wellness for young children, and especially during this time of COVID-19. We are grateful to have with us Dr. Ryan Quist, who is the Behavioral Health Director for the County of Sacramento. Ryan, thanks for being here.
Absolutely.
So we're going to talk, in this segment, we're going to talk about stress and the impact that it has on children. So first, let's talk about stress as it is. Stress is normal anyway, but now it's obviously heightened.
Yes. Well, in this particular situation, we have, it's made such big changes to our everyday routine. So we have, our entire lives have been disrupted, and everything we're used to have in our regular schedules have been completely changed. So it's completely normal for everybody to feel stressed and anxiety. And it's not a matter of if you feel stressed, it's a matter of when you feel stressed. And so we all need to be aware of how our bodies are reacting to this stressful situation.
So in normal situations, we're probably not even aware of the stress that we feel because normal stress is a part of our normal lives.
You're absolutely right. In this case, we really promote an idea called mindfulness, where you really pay attention to your body, pay attention to how you're reacting to things. Are you getting overly anxious? Are you impatient? Are you withdrawing? Are you not doing the things that you normally do? It's really important to maintain as much routine as you possibly can in your life.
Okay. So now we are fortunate because the county has provided us with some guidelines and some tips that we can emphasize with our families that are dealing with this right now. And so we're going to go over a number of those points with you, Ryan. So the first one I want to talk about is, in dealing with children, is to reassure them that they are safe. Explain why that's so important, and then kind of get into the detail of how we can do that.
Sure, absolutely. So first, let's start with the fact that children often express their stress and anxiety differently than other adults. And so often children might withdraw and might want to be away from you. In other situations, they might get really clingy and want to be right on top of everything you're doing. And this is ways that they're expressing their stress and anxiety. So sometimes they get preoccupied with illness in their drawing or in their playing. They can also have problems with sleeping or nightmares. They can have physical symptoms like stomach aches and migraines. And these are all ways that they're sort of expressing that they're feeling something different is going on. So how can we reassure them? Well, everybody could use a good hug every now and then, right? That's really what they're looking for. They're looking for you to sit down, listen to them, have a conversation with them. They want to know that you're paying attention to them and that you're right there with them and that they have you available when they need you.
And for the parents and families out there, are there some common words they should use? Is there a specific word choice in their reassurance with their children?
Well, you always want to be expressing your love, and one of the things we definitely promote is gratitude. The idea of modeling for your children that you're grateful for the things in life. Aren't we grateful for this? Oh, I'm so grateful for you. Thank you for doing that. And the gratitude is always such a great medicine for any situation. That's one of the great ways that you can do.
And so when children have that reassurance, then they feel more confident, more comfortable?
Absolutely, yeah. And the other thing, you want them to know that you're listening. And so this will give you a way to be able to let them know, thanks for talking to me about that. Thanks for sharing your feelings. It's really important to have them know that they can talk about these emotions that maybe they don't know what they are, that they can talk about them and express them.
So that kind of leads into the next point that we were talking about, and that is, encourage children to talk to their families about how they feel. Again, explain why that's important, first of all, and then kind of give families some ideas of how they can get that done with their kids.
Yeah, absolutely. So you really, again, you want to make sure that they know that they can talk about it. This isn't something that's taboo to talk about. It's not embarrassing to talk about feeling stressed. This is normal, and they should feel stressed right now because we've had such big changes. Some things you can do is you can encourage them to incorporate their feelings into their activities. So you can have them do a drawing activity where they can, why don't you draw and help me understand how you're feeling in your drawing? Or you can do it through journaling, or having their toys act out their feelings.
Kids are, though, reluctant probably to express themselves. Like you say, drawings and things are one way, but you really encourage them to talk, to really express how they're feeling.
And they can tell when you're listening, right? We all know we can tell when somebody's listening and when somebody's not. So it's really important to be thoughtful and reflect back to them. I hear you saying that you're not feeling very good about this. Help me understand what could help you feel more comfortable right now. Is there something else that you'd like to do? One of the things we see as well is that it can also be empowering to start to give youth choices when they're playing. Instead of saying, go play with your blocks or whatever it is, give them options. Do you want to do this or do you want to do that? It gives them a sense of control in this situation where they might be feeling like they don't have enough control.
Now, the next tip we want to talk about is tell them they can ask questions and answer these in plain language appropriate to their age and their ability to understand. How do you do that?
Yeah, so the bottom line is they need to know that they can talk about whatever it is they need to talk about. They're going to have questions about what this coronavirus thing is. They're going to have questions about why we're washing our hands so much. These are all good questions, and we should just really simply explain to them in language that they can understand, age-appropriate language that they can understand what's going on. And I encourage you to actually do that in your own conversations with other adults when you're around them. Try not to make it sound too magical or too complicated. It's really a simple thing, and we're going to get through this just fine because we're taking these very basic precautions in order to get through this situation together.
Okay. Now the next point is tell them that feeling upset or afraid is normal. And how do you explain that to a child that it's okay to feel that way? I feel that way too. It's okay for you to feel that way. Yeah,
that's exactly right. So you can talk about how your feelings are, and when I get stressful, sometimes I get really impatient. Do you feel that way sometimes? Or sometimes when I get stressed out, I might start closing down, where I feel like I just can't take anymore and I just need to be alone for a little while. Do you ever feel like that? And so these types of conversations where you show them that their reactions are just the same as yours, and that this is a normal part of being human and nothing to be surprised by.
I wanted to answer yes to your questions because I think we all feel that way. That's a good way to pose it, because when you're engaging in a conversation with kids and you let them know that you're feeling the same things, their guard will drop down and they're more likely to talk to you about it.
Yeah, and sometimes you can even do it by reflecting. If they're acting out, you can help reflect back to them. It looks like you're getting very upset. Is that how you feel? And then they, let them think about, what is it that why are you feeling that way? And reflecting back to them, that's probably a little bit more difficult for younger children, but it's still a good practice to start developing, is reflecting when you see negative behavior, is to reflect back to them both what it looks like as well as how it's impacting you.
Great. Now, another point is be understanding. Explain that, because that's not as simple as it sounds.
No, be understanding. So the idea behind this one is we're all experiencing stressful situations, and we're all going to, this is good advice for all of us in all of our situations right now. We're going to need to give each other a little bit of forgiveness in terms of the reactions that we're having right now. We're all experiencing stress, and so are our youth. They're experiencing these stressful situations, and they're going to react because of them. And so we need to give them space to do that. And so an example might be if they have some homework and they're working on their homework, and they start getting distracted, this might be an okay time to let them take a break from their homework, as opposed to, wanting to push through on this particular assignment. Maybe it's okay to get distracted for a minute. All right, maybe we'll take some TV time out for just a minute, and then we'll get back to it in a little bit.
Okay, that's all part of understanding. So the next point is make efforts to create opportunities for quality time and attention with your children. Mm-hmm. That's really important, because that really relaxes everybody.
Yes. And it's also a good way to build up your routines. One of the challenging parts here is it's broken our routines. So this is going to be able to help you create structure for maintaining those routines. So if you spend some quality time, we can still go outside. We can go out in the backyard maybe, or we can go down the block. We still want to maintain the precautions about keeping the 6 feet distance, but this is still a time to do some activities together. Play a game together, do other things that you enjoy doing together. Maybe make a meal together, that type of stuff.
Any kind of parent-child or family-child time together is really valuable, especially now.
Absolutely.
When children are feeling stressed.
Yeah.
Okay. So next tip that the county offers is remember that children look to their parents to feel safe.
Yeah.
That's an incredible responsibility, but it's really something that parents have to be aware of all the time.
It is. And this goes back to that mindfulness concept about being aware of how you're reacting to the situation and noticing, are you being impatient? Are you feeling upset at the moment? Are you feeling withdrawn? Were you feeling burnt out? Your kids can feel how you're feeling, and if you're feeling stressed, it's going to add to their stress, and that's not an easy thing to fix. So don't feel bad if you're feeling stressed and that they feel, and your children feel that as well. Just, it's something we want to be aware of and try to model good self-maintenance practices. Sit down and relax for a little bit when you're feeling more wound up, or take a breath and model that for them. Okay, it looks like we're all feeling impatient, so let's all take a breath, and now we can get back to what we needed to do.
Mm-hmm. And it's leading by example.
Exactly.
Which is not easy to do because the parents are feeling a lot of it too, feeling a lot of the stress.
Yeah.
One of the things you emphasized too was try to keep to normal routines.
You're absolutely right.
It's challenging now because nothing is normal.
It's true.
Everyone having to stay inside, kids not being able to be with friends. So how can families establish normal routines?
One of the most important routines to maintain is your sleep pattern. So when we're at home, we might be and we don't have to get up early the next morning. We might be tempted to stay up a little bit later, sleep in a little bit longer. Maybe do that a little bit, but don't do it a lot of it. You really want to maintain a pretty standard sleep cycle for yourselves. Our sleep really impacts our mood and our health. So that's the most important one. Other things that you can keep as good routines are your meal times. Sometimes when you're at home and the food's right there, you might be more tempted to snack a lot. It's good to keep those meals to mealtime.
So then if you have normal routines, then your children will feel a little more normal, that even though there's a lot going on, whirling around right now, there are some things that are still the same that they can kind of identify with.
You've got it.
Okay. So now before we leave, you have some resources that you've offered, and we're going to put them on the screen now. These are resources for families to access. First, there is the Mental Health Access Team, and you see the numbers on your screen there, 2 different numbers to call. Alcohol and Drug Services as well, for adults and for youth under 18. And also the County Health Department has updates on COVID-19, which people can access. And there's also an email address that people can send their questions to, covid19@saccounty.net. And we really urge families to use these resources because it will really help you in working with your children. And Ryan, before we go, what's one final tip that you want to leave parents and families with to work with their children to kind of work through all this and get past all this?
Sure. I want to tell you about one other really great resource that's available to you. This is something called The Source. This is our 24/7, so it's offered around the clock resource for youth or their caregivers to call. So we have a phone number. It's really easy, 916-SUPPORT or 916-787-7678, or you can chat at thesourcesacramento.com. Or you can text also at 916-SUPPORT. So this is a really great resource if you're feeling like behaviors are starting to escalate and you're wondering how to deal with those behaviors, and you're starting to get to the point where maybe you're getting to the end of your resources and you need a little bit of support. Please feel free to call them. They're there and available in order to provide you your support. So I think this is a really great resource for everybody to use.
Okay, well, thank you very much. We've been talking with Dr. Ryan Quist from the Sacramento County. He's the Behavioral Health Director for the county. Thank you for your time. Thank you for these tips to parents and families. And we hope that you found all this valuable. We appreciate your time and thank you for watching this.